Welcome to Celestial Insights, a weekly podcast that brings the stars down to earth. I'm your host, astrologer, coach, and intuitive Celeste Brooks. My purpose is to provide practical, unique, and insightful guidance to help you navigate the energies of the week like a boss. Hello, this is Celeste of Astrology by Celeste, and on this episode, I will discuss the astrology for the week of January 11th, 2026. On Saturday, I will host a Navigate 2026 in Sync with the Moon webinar. The goal of this webinar is to help you navigate the year with more ease, understanding the nature of the moon cycles that are coming up. I will do a few hot take chart readings, so there's a benefit for coming live. You can sign up at the link in the show notes or go to astrologybyceleste.com. This webinar is free to attend, and I hope to see you there. It'll be hosted on Zoom. The theme of this week is divide and conquer, and there are three big things I'd like you to think about as we navigate this week. Eris is a dwarf planet, and it's stationing direct at 24 degrees of Aries today. Eris is the Greek goddess of discord, strife, and destabilizing truth. Her most famous myth is when she rolled the golden apple into a wedding and three goddesses started fighting over it. It was inscribed with "to the fairest." This action ultimately led to the Trojan War. Eris doesn't create chaos just for chaos's sake. Her drive is to expose false harmony, force hidden tensions into the open, and disrupt systems that rely on exclusion or denial. We often see her associated with outsiders or those who feel left out, or instances of rage born from injustice. Eris takes about 558 years to orbit the sun. So it's not a personal planet, it's generational. It moves so slowly. It's out past Pluto. And its orbit is very elliptical and tilted, and that brings in this disruptor theme. Eris is Aries, the god of war's sister. People in Iran are protesting. If you've been listening to the podcast, I've been rooting for the women of Iran to break their chains. People are very angry with the government there about the economy failing and the conditions that people are in currently. Eris has been traveling very closely with Chiron, the wounded healer. So Chiron went direct the day before the full moon, and it was when the United States went in and arrested Nicolas Maduro. It was a shocking event that, although we've been expecting, because the United States has been putting all this pressure on him because they want the oil, it was quite shocking that he was brought back to the U.S. for trial. Manuel Noriega, the same fate happened to him, who was the leader of Panama back when Saturn and Neptune met in Capricorn. This was back January 3rd, 1990. And Saturn and Neptune are traveling together again. They're going to meet in Aries, and the United States again takes a leader who they call a narco-terrorist out of South America. So the cycles repeat. So what's going to happen now that Eris is going direct? Will the events be linked, or will it be something totally different? We shall see. But this week, Venus, then Mars, then Mercury in Capricorn will first square Eris and then Chiron. And Chiron's on a world point of 22.5 Aries. So there's going to be a lot of news related to Capricornian themes of the nature of the personal planets. Keep that in mind as you're watching what happens. And Chiron, the wounded healer, wounds as well as heals. Now, Chiron and Eris will meet on March 19th. So that's a date to be aware of. Until then, they're traveling really closely together. And when planets are going through the cardinal signs, they're talking to the two of them. The 2026 Lunar Planning Guide is a digital, fillable guide that walks you through each moon cycle with themes, major transits, and journal prompts so that you can stay aligned with the energy. And beyond the moon, it includes all the key astrology for the year, the retrograde, sign changes, and major planetary events that shape the collective story. If you're looking for a clear, practical way to stay organized and grounded, this will help you track your intentions and make sense of the shifting energies in 2026. It's only $22 and the link is in the show notes. The next thing I want to make you aware of is that we're going to have a balsamic moon at 9 degrees of Sagittarius on Wednesday. This is the last phase of the moon cycle. The moon cycle has 8 phases, and the balsamic moon is the last 3.5 days before a new moon, where the moon empties out the rest of her light to start a new cycle. This one is interesting because it is conjunct the fixed star Antares, a star associated with obsession, going to extremes, or all or nothing behavior. The moon rules the people. So the people may be very emotional, reactive, and a bit volatile during this balsamic moon phase, which is a time where energy is typically less, but events that are going on may have people a bit amped up. During the balsamic moon, Mercury and Mars will actually be conjunct in Capricorn. So that's very volatile, explosive, impulsive decision and fast-moving reactions by business leaders, Capricorns, government figures can be occurring. So this is a good time to just be aware of that people may be a little emotionally extra intense with the balsamic moon activating the fixed star Antares. The last thing I want to make you aware of is that Venus will enter the sign of Aquarius from Saturday, January 17th through February 6th. Venus is moving quickly. Aquarius is a fixed air sign that rules groups, alliances, organizations, collective agreements. It has associations with scientific advancements. Maybe something will be announced about women's health, some type of advancement. It also is associated with ideals, including freedom. Before Venus enters Aquarius, she's traveling through Capricorn and going through that 29th degree where she's sextile Neptune at 29 degrees of Pisces. Some people may be really creative and coming up with a beautiful sculpture, or this is great manifesting energy, but it also can be like you're in a relationship with something that feels very transactional. Venus rules relationships. And you're thinking about what is the cost and what is the return. That 29th degree is a degree of crisis and decay. So there's something that may be really imbalanced, like a younger person and an older party. This is like May, June romances where you're looking at that person and it's like they are 25 years older than you and you're thinking, do I want to be stuck with this for the rest of my life? Or there's a power differential that's reached some kind of tipping point. And you may just be like, I'm out of here. I just need to get out and have some fun with my girlfriends could be what's coming up for people. Or you've been in the house being disciplined when Venus was in Capricorn, not eating your favorite things. And then Venus goes into Aquarius and you're like, I want to get out. I want to have fun. I want to socialize. And so you grab some friends and go out. On the world stage, we can see some major events developing with alliances like NATO or multinational agreements. When Venus moves from that 29th degree of Capricorn, there can be some kind of power differential. That's a crisis. And then Venus moves into Aquarius and a group unites. The United States has been threatening Greenland, and this is a really big deal. The world has changed. The world order is not what it was before the United States went in and snatched Maduro from a sovereign nation. And Venus is moving towards Pluto. So this can be where there is some permanent rupture of a group or some things come out into the open. Just notice what you're seeing as Venus moves from Capricorn to Aquarius. You may notice a shift inside of yourself where you're ready to feel more free, have some more fun, tired of feeling bogged down. One of my greatest pleasures is mentoring astrology enthusiasts and professionals who want to deepen their craft. If you're building your skills or refining your approach, we can work together one-on-one to strengthen your chart interpretation, timing techniques, client readiness, and your confidence in putting it all together. You can schedule a single session or choose a mentoring package for ongoing guidance. Details are at astrologybyceleste.com on the services page. On Sunday, the word of the day is bog. We have a Scorpio moon at 2:55 a.m. Pacific time. It's fixed water. There's some intensity. It's emotional. It's sexy. But with Neptune at 29 Pisces, it's like wet rain imagery that I'm getting. A bog is a wetland where the water sits on the top or near the surface. This brings in the themes of how there was tension when Eris rolled the apple into the party, but it wasn't acknowledged. Yesterday, we had a last quarter moon in Libra, where everyone is all dressed up and fancy. I'm getting a bachelorette party, and the next day, Sunday, the moon goes into Scorpio, and people are talking about what happened at the bachelorette party. Sharing secret, digging the dirt. It's what's underneath the surface. Venus in Capricorn is squaring Chiron in Aries on a world point on this day. It's 22.5 degrees of the respective signs. Then the asteroid Vesta, which rules sisterhood, it looks like a flame or an altar. Vesta speaks to the home, the Vestal Virgins. It has associations with embassies as well. So let's see if there's any news about an embassy, because Eris is stationing direct at 6:59 p.m. and the moon in Scorpio squares Pluto in Aquarius. Some people may be feeling bogged down. I was hearing the song Blue Bayou. I'm really interested to see how Eris stationing direct shows up in the collective. I feel like people are fighting for their freedom. Iran is having big protests. So it could be something over there. I've been rooting for the women of Iran ever since Masha Amini. There's been this real push to throw off the chains of that restrictive religious theocracy. On Monday, the word of the day is bend. The sun in Capricorn will square Chiron in Aries, both at 22.5 degrees, still on this world point. Chiron moves pretty slowly. And I got the image of a wounded leader on bended knee. This could be Monday Night Football, something going on. Capricorn rules the knees, Aries the head. There's some kind of power imbalance that maybe we're seeing in the news amplified, or you're seeing at work, or a diplomatic submission where there's this conflict and someone says uncle. On Tuesday, the word of the day is razor. Mars in Capricorn will square Chiron in Aries on 22.5 degrees on this world point. There is probably going to be big news where there's some kind of conflict around governments, big business, the elderly, structures, Capricornian themes, mountains. The word of the day is razor. I got a razor's like on a razor's edge. You may see someone with a cut on their face. Mars rules sharp objects. And the moon enters Sagittarius at 3:33 p.m. Pacific time. This is a real switch from Scorpio, which can be intense. Sagittarius is more joyful, exuberant, philosophical. People make it news that gets them excited. Now, shadow energy can be know-it-all, lawless, just wild and crazy. But in general, I love a Sagittarius moon. On Wednesday, the word of the day is briefing. Mercury in Capricorn will be opposite Jupiter retrograde in Cancer at 19 degrees. This is a mutually applying opposition. Mercury has to do with communication and Jupiter has to do with the big picture. Maybe you're called into a meeting for your corporation. One of your products maybe injured someone with Mars square Chiron, and you're finding out about what happened, going through the checklist of what went wrong. Or maybe the government is explaining why there's a restriction or a curfew or a loss of a benefit. There's a balsamic moon at 9 degrees of Sagittarius, which is semi-square Mars and conjunct the fixed star Antares at 11 a.m. Pacific time. People may be really agitated about whatever they're hearing. And the Sagittarius moon will square the nodes at 10 degrees of North Node in Pisces, South Node in Virgo. So people may get really critical about whatever it is they feel like they're losing. It's a good time to take a breath before reacting if something happens that impacts you directly. On Thursday, the word of the day is separation. Venus in Capricorn is trine Uranus in Taurus, both at 27 degrees. Something may have happened in that May-December romance that May is saying, I've had enough, or you're finding out a couple that has been married a long time is divorcing, a company's breaking up, something is collapsing, something is separating. Uranus can break things unexpectedly, but with the trine, it's like you slide into it and you both are okay with breaking this. The moon in Sagittarius will square Saturn at 27 degrees as well. So whatever is separating impacts a bunch of people. There could be surprising government or business announcements. You could win the lottery with this. Uranus is the unexpected. It can be like winning the lottery, getting a great opportunity, or it can be tripping and falling. Your partner bumping into your knee. Mercury squares Chiron on this day. Mercury in Capricorn, Chiron in Aries, still at 22.5. So this is a time where be mindful, especially if you're in crowds. People can get really agitated when Mercury squares Chiron. It's like someone shouting about how they're wounded. This also can be a great time to talk to a therapist and work through some things where you come to an understanding about where this core wound started. On Friday, the word of the day is zealous. Somebody may be feeling righteous indignation as the moon in Sagittarius squares Neptune and Pisces, both at the 29th degree. Someone is sharing their religious philosophy. They knock on your door, ring the doorbell, and someone is just really passionate about something they believe in, and they're trying to get you to understand their way of thinking with that moon square Neptune. The moon enters Capricorn at 3:46 a.m. Pacific time. We may be looking at a structure. Be really careful. Fire, knives, candles, all the things this week with Chiron and Aries being so activated. This feels like there's going to be some fiery imagery during this week. On Saturday, the word of the day is bulldozer. Venus at 29 degrees of Capricorn sextiles Neptune at 29 degrees of Pisces. This can be an opportunity to make manifest something. Venus sextile Neptune, someone could be falling in love. A friend could introduce you to a new partner. The sun in Capricorn also sextiles Saturn and Pisces at 27 degrees. So you get this date, a blind date you get set up on, and the person is very Capricornian in some way, serious, a lot older than you. It is still a beautiful opportunity for a relationship. Venus enters Aquarius at 4:43 a.m. and you look at it from a higher perspective. You get less critical and see the long-term view. You rise above it. You may have walked in the restaurant and felt like you were hit by a bulldozer because the person was so much older or serious than you expected. But as time goes on, you start to put on a little bit of the rose-colored glasses with Venus sextile Neptune and think about how the nice things about it. Now, this also can be a group of people coming against an issue. Vesta and Pluto are conjunct on this day at 3 Aquarius. I want people to be very careful in large crowds because Mercury and Mars will meet at 26 Capricorn, right near the degree of Mars's exaltation. This feels like a bomb dropped at a party. Now, it can be a verbal bomb where someone feels like they're knocked over by a bulldozer. You can also just be out having a good time. Venus entering Aquarius, you want to get out, be social. But with Mercury and Mars, there can be some conflicts. Just be aware of that and your safety. So that's it for this week's episode. Feel free to email me at celeste@astrologybyceleste.com and let me know how the daily themes are playing out for you. Take care, and I'll catch you next week. Thank you for listening to Celestial Insights. To learn more about my work, please visit my website, astrologybyceleste.com, where I offer personal readings, horary consultations, cosmic coaching, group events, and classes to help guide people to higher levels of fulfillment. You can also find me on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, and Facebook at Astrology by Celeste. If you enjoyed Celestial Insights, please help others find the show. Follow, rate it 5 stars, or write a nice review. I would so appreciate it. I'm astrologer, coach, and intuitive Celeste Brooks, and I'll be back next week.